Welcome back, everybody. Joel, League of Inches podcast, along with Jesse for our round 22 Supercoach review show. We had it last week. Great ratings. A lot of you did tune in, watch it, gave us some positive feedback as well. So you really dig it. So we'll bring it back and it'll be a regular thing for the rest of the season and looking to bring it back, obviously, next season as well. We're not going anywhere. Plenty to talk about. Big weekend. Started with a bang. That Tigers-Cowboys game brought some cracking scores, which we will get to shortly. As always, it's, as I said, it was the two of us tonight. There's no Trav. He's licking his wounds. He had a bit of a bummer score on the weekend. So just licking his wounds a little bit. He'll be back. He'll be bigger, back bigger and better than ever, probably Wednesday night with Jesse. Who knows? I might be here. I might not. I might be too late. And it just works out that it's better for the boys to do the Wednesdays without me. I'm doing the live show. So, Jesse, I'll throw to you. Let's chat Supercoach round that was in terms of your scoring rank. Where are things at with you as we get to the first week of head-to-head as well? So anyone out there playing in the head-to-head comps, good luck if you're into the finals. Remember, there is that bottom half of the draw finals as well. So pretty much as long as you have some sort of idea about Supercoach, you should be playing in finals somehow. Just about if you're up with the top dogs or if you're down trying to climb up. Woof, woof. Those one little chihuahua. So, Jesse, what do you got?
Little dogs. So this week, I was going into this week feeling pretty okay about my team too. I didn't really want to make too many wholesale changes. I don't have the trades to do that anyway. I was more so just thinking ahead. I've got 3 now. I had 4 last week, and it was more about gearing up for the results to come. And I almost had a good score, besides one particular player who kind of dragged the team down. But I scored 1172. So I did drop rank, but it was slightly above par. I'm ranked 2,707 now. So I dropped 249 spots. So I've just been this mid 2.5 to 3K bracket. I've been hovering in for, I feels like forever now, to be honest. It feels like once I cracked that 2.5, I've just been bloody yo-yoing up to 3 and back down. So, it wasn't an overly bad round. I did see a couple of decent scores, but nothing too massive in the leagues that I'm in. So, you mentioned it before. It's the last week of, it was the last week of the regular rounds before the head-to-heads, and I won 3 of my 4 main comps that I'm in, and I lost 2 of the public league ones that I don't really look at, to be honest. So that's not too much to worry about there. But no, it was pretty decent. I ended up getting 4th place in the Creators Cup now, and I'm playing Savs in 2 leagues, which kind of sucks because he's flying. But I got him in the Creators Cup. Shout out to you, Savs. I hope I get you in both.
He's beatable.
Mate. Yeah,
beatable.
you got him.
I did
You
it
got
on
him
the
last
weekend.
week. So you got him this week gone, and I'll have him in 2 comps coming up this round. So the Creators Cup coming 4th, got him, and then the Supercoach Experience $50 cash comp too. I've got him in that one. Finished above him that round too. I don't understand. He's flying. He's actually in that particular league. Must have just had some real unlucky matchups because I think he finished quite low, which is a bit weird. But my head-to-heads there. We'll see how they go this week. They're not too bad. I'm projected for a couple, but that particular one with him is going to be a bit trickier. But yeah, how about yourself? How did you go? Please enlighten us. Great score.
Just quickly, we did your total score. Have you cracked the 25K yet, or are you still just under?
No, I'm in 25,113.
Okay, so you're about 500 ahead of me at the moment. So I'm still clawing that deficit. I reckon you got almost 1,000 a few weeks ago, and I'm bringing it back. So for me, another week where green arrows, it was just flying. I think remembering correctly, I think I've gone now 5 weeks in a row of green arrows. It might be 4. I'm not sure, but I was 20,000th ranked 4 weeks ago, and I'm up now. 1,251 was my total score. Season ranks gone up to 8,440th. Total score 24,630. You touch on it. Won all my head-to-heads on the weekend, which was nice coming into the finals. Pretty sure I'm playing all the top bracket finals for all the head-to-heads I'm in. I think maybe I'm missing on one public one. I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm playing most. And defending the crown for the draft comp as well, League of Inches inaugural draft season. Finished first. and me and Jesse actually have a head-to-head, I think, this week. So
Yep,
first
we
week, it's
do.
going to be big. I'm very, very nervous. A lot of roosters out, so see what happens there with our teams. But I'm pretty happy. Like, to be honest, as I said, like 3-4 weeks ago, I was nowhere to be seen, and I felt like the moment I told you boys that I was not interested in head-to-head overall anymore, and I was focusing on head-to-head stuff, I've just shot up the rankings, and it's like, I don't know, maybe just this little change of tact has helped, but maybe it's just trying to play some big ballsy plays as we've been talking about in the chat. My balls are huge at the moment, and it's probably paying off a bit.
Yeah, well, it's worked out for you obviously this round, and you've gone up 12,000 spots in the last month and a bit. So
Yeah,
you've done quite well. But even still, like you look at your total points now, I reckon because I did it like the other week. I thought, how far away am I from 30K? And I was about as close as I was to the top. So where you're sitting in eighth, you're probably 500 points off me, and probably 500 points off 40,000. So
yeah,
it's in a really weird spot where the top end of the league kind of condenses up a lot. And I feel like
yeah,
that top group, that like 0.5% are so far away. Like if
yeah.
you're with that
That was
pack,
like
like
this week. I sort of felt like I would have climbed a little bit higher, if I'm being honest. I thought I would have climbed at least 1,000 spots or so. I only got about the 700 spots up, and I thought 1,250 was a pretty good score because I won all my head-to-heads
mm,
easily, and
yeah,
I just felt like I should have climbed up a bit more. But as you said, it's that time of year; it's a bit congested at the moment with a lot of that top spots and stuff, and a lot of the people have a lot of the same sort of players who have spot. You guys have obviously spoken about at length with the pods, and that's a good way to go forward. And I picked up Toe, and I guess a bit of a poddish move in a way. He's still not as heavily owned as I thought he would be by now. Maybe the price point has scared a lot of people off at this time of year, but yeah, I just feel like I'm starting to come along nice. I'm looking forward to head-to-heads. The Roosters by this week is definitely scary. Only running one fullback is scary, which we'll probably touch on a bit later. But um, we'll see how we go. We'll see. I'm
yeah,
quietly confident in most of my comps I'm in. And look, the inaugural League of Vintage, I've already got a lot of people out there. Just if you are interested, I'm sort of roughly penning down any names who have come to us that aren't part of the inaugural one so far, because we are going to expand it out to 2 comps next year and do a bit of a promotion and relegation type system and get some rankings done for next year. So it's a very important year to be part of it. Just message the page, flick us a message if you want to be penned down or penciled down for a spot next year, because it'll be bigger and better than ever. Really looking forward to seeing what we can do with the page for the Supercoach side of things moving forward. So much happening. Let's get into it. Let's get into the weekend that was. And as I said, the Friday night game was huge. The Cowboys 48 defeating the send-off West Tigers. They can't
oh,
go a game without a sin bin or a send-off.
no,
But Benji, if he's not grey by the next couple of weeks, full on hair like grey, I'll give it away. He's honestly going through the ringer in the first year of head coaching, and the Tigers were coming. There was a point in that game where the Tigers are really coming for the Cowboys, and then sort of just got derailed. But then they scored some points at the end over the Cowboys, who sort of maybe got a bit lazy, queue in the rack type thing. Looking at some of the big scores for this one. For the Tigers first, Dream Buller, 131.
mm,
I had him in fullback as well in one of my drafts. I had him on the bench. Absolutely spewing. Did not get those points. Fainu as well. Now Jesse's been a massive fan of Fainu. He'll probably wrap him galore. 112 there. And Richie Porter, 98. For those who have held on to Mr. Porter, goodness me, that has helped a lot. For the Cowboys, Val Holmes got one of our Supercoach Players of the Week awards, along with Drinkwater, 136 and 135 respectively. And Tuolangi, 103, little sneaky one. Very disappointed about that because in our League of Inches draft, he was available last week and I missed out on him. Someone got him
mm,
just above me. So I was
same.
absolutely spewing because that would have been beautiful. I know I would have lost him a few weeks' time, but I would have taken the points for now. And a little sneaky 97. What stands out for this game, Jesse, in a positive or negative?
Oh, mate, well, plenty of points. That was one thing.
Yeah,
Defense was not on show for that game, and I feel like every time the Tigers and the Cows meet up, it never is. It's just it's a bloody tri-fest, and um, sort of expected it, and I was really gutted that I couldn't do that Val Holmes move, and I just decided against it at the end of the day. I thought it's not worth it on my side, but obviously 136, like you definitely take that to the bank. So, but yeah, Dream Buller, I had him in the League of Inches draft on my bench. Um, just chipped away. I got my win anyway, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But yeah, it sucks seeing that many points. And I've decided to play Ponga, so I suppose it's not bad having Ponga back. But against Penrith, I probably should have thought otherwise.
Oh,
Yeah, so
shit. I
drink all up.
forgot you having Ponga this week. Holy
Yeah,
fuck.
against the Tigers, mate. It's all on. Fuck, the boys are on. I don't think I've got any chooks either, so I've got nothing to worry about. Um, but
Oh,
yeah,
no.
look, Buller, Val Holmes each hitting 130. That's really, really good for both of their scores. I think Val Holmes going forward, obviously, his break even's real low. He's still very affordable, less than 700k, 680 now. He's dearer than Lomax and the like. So there's a few that have kind of settled a bit. He's on the
Yeah.
way up. He does hurt your head-to-heads if you don't make it through this round. If you finish top 4 and lose, you will have to play again next week, so you will lose him. But either way, I think, yeah, you can't really go wrong with it at the moment. They're all firing at a good time. Finu, again, 112. And actually both second rowers, even Ruben Porter too, massive. If you were, in a position where you had to play them the week just gone, I had Porter and didn't play him because I thought I had better options. Yeah, it was huge. I think the ones that were kind of thin in depth were forced their hand to play him, and they were very rewarded. But Lockie Galvin got 82, so that's not bad. Dearden did get that big rescore from 80 to 97. It was just firing, like a lot of big dogs looking down the ranks that are not too many relevant players didn't score very well. So
No.
it was kind of just, if you've got the good ones, they got some points. And if you played them, well done. So yeah, good matchup overall for big points.
Just a quick one. Correct you. You've made one little mistake here. People have probably shut themselves, similar to me. The Cowboys bye isn't next week.
Not
It's the
next
week after.
Sorry,
It's the
that's
week.
right.
So it's actually the proper semi-final. Like it's actually more
Semis.
important. So
Yeah, wow. Oops.
it's
Sorry, guys. Rewind.
painful, and I'm
Yeah,
I'm
it's in a
dreading
bad
it, as I
spot.
said. So you actually
Yeah.
got me a bit excited because I was like, oh, I might sneakily get away with this because I'm top 4 for a lot of mine. So if I can pull out a win this week, I was cheering. So I was like, I'm quickly going to bring this up, but it's just a bye schedule. So Roosters got the bye this week, Broncos next week, Cowboys,
That's right.
and then the West Tigers for grand final. So any Tigers players you have,
Don't worry
they're
about
going to be grand final. So
Yeah.
unlucky
But,
there.
yeah. Back
Yeah,
off
pretty
us.
much. Yeah, mate. I didn't want to, but I was like, just because people out there probably driving might just
No,
literally just
I'm glad you
shit
did.
themselves. I
Yeah,
thought I'd
definitely.
quickly
Yeah, I
get
looked at
in.
it wrong.
Shout out to Justin Olam's -8. Great score, brother. The send off, obviously, massive influence with those scores there. Coruscant's a little bit disappointing. Once again, he's sort of had one of those roller coaster games, but 54, I guess you'll take it if that's the downward spiral that we always talk about. He's very, very much a roller coaster guy. 54 is a better score for him. Normally it's a 20. So that's probably a good thing for Coruscant moving forward. But yeah, I'm pretty much that game. I think you wrapped it up perfectly. I'm happy to move on for the next one, which was the Eels getting up over the Warriors, 30 points to 20 in a game that was just a bit odd. It just felt odd because Parramatta looked like a football team again. And the Warriors I was going into that, honestly, as a Para fan, I was literally thinking about putting my team on the list, the famous League of Inches list. And I thought the Warriors, everything to play for, packed house, another home game that sold out. This did not turn up. Like it's just got to the point now where I actually feel for the Warriors fans because they've been so good this year. And credit to everyone out there in the Waz Nation and all that sort of stuff. Waz up. They just have not got out of the blocks at all this year. It's been so disappointing. For a Supercoach point of view, Nigel Cook's had a lot of pressure on him at fullback at the moment. A lot of people are saying Roger Tuivasa-Sheck's wasted on the wing, which I do agree with, but it's just how do you fit them all in the team at the moment? Because Nigel Klokstad's doing his job. He's doing what's required, but at the same time, I feel like that spark that Roger can give him is much needed, especially when Johnson's there, because Johnson, for mine, and respect to one of the New Zealand GOATs, retired today as we record this. So shout out to him and a great career. But if we're being brutally honest, he just hasn't been it this year, and it's just been unfortunate to watch. It's sort of like you'd rather him have gone out last year on that high sort of thing. But that's a shout out there. Like Tuivasa-Sheck still got a 70 on the wing, so that's not the worst thing that could have come out of that. That's a decent sort of score for Roger. For the Eels, King Gutho, 120. What a score. At fullback, he's that was back to the Gutho vintage days of, I think, last year's little purple patch
Yeah,
where he scored like
definitely.
700s in a row or something it was. So,
Yeah.
and Dill Brown, if you held on to him, you got a nice 90 out of Dill Brown. So very, very popular trade last week to Cleary. But if you did hold on and maybe he used your 5/8 or something, you moved him back down, he's dead set, done wonders for you. For mine, when it comes to sort of the players who are just a bit eye-opening, just sort of the Cardi party didn't really take off, 41. He just
Mm.
hasn't really gone up to too much. Joey Lussick, I mean, I sit with him on my team just because I just have to, and he's managed to try to get a 49 out of it. If I was stuck that week and I had to play him, goodness me, I would have almost kissed the bloke, and I hate him. So thank you very much. any Joey Lussick owners out there. But what about you, Jesse, from this game?
Yeah, well, you did touch on the big ones. Obviously, CNK 92 and Gutho were the 120, so big fullbacks hit it hard, which is, it's relieving because they've both been under the spotlight too. Like they've both not really been performing for their teams. So Barnett 83 is really good, a bit of a bounce back. So he's sort of priced up at that 83 sort of price point anyway, which is real good. But like Niakore's 86, I wouldn't bank on it too often. But Barnett's score, I would pretty much take that every round. He's been shitting me to tears beyond belief, but Dallin come through at the end with this junkiest
Oh,
try, scrapping one. Oh god, I was livid. I was fuming when when it got stripped. I thought, you prick, just do something, dive, get low. But nah, he got one at the end. So 75, you take that for what it is. I still want to punt him though, even though his break even's nothing and he can make some coin. Get out. I don't like that roller coaster. Yeah, SJ67, not a bad bounce back, but again, the Warriors have looked so bad with him this year. Like credit to them, like they hate a home game in
yeah.
general. You can't do much there. You'd hate to go play, watch them at home. They're just guaranteed to lose. But yeah, I think dropping Tamari Martin was a bit of a weird one, and yeah, they just can't get a result with him this season. So he's going to retire. Probably a bit of a sour taste in general, unfortunately for him. Last year he could, butter wouldn't melt in his mouth, and now everyone sort of goes, oh, just put TMM back in. So it's a bit of a shame, but again, he's a legend. But yeah, for the Parramatta Eels, not a great deal. Blaze Talungi's 79. He keeps doing the thing, eh? He just keeps doing it. Like you take that every day. It doesn't matter what he's going on. And the team looks so happy for him too when he got that. He got that try, went right through the middle. Obviously with all the stuff around him in the last, 7 days, but the Penrith talk, sorry. It's good to see them backing him in. Just refreshing for a young talent. But yeah, Cardi, no good. Without Moses, you can kind of tell he's not really there for it. Madison 71's pretty solid though. He's been quite good at lock. He's stretched a few games together of 60s to 70s in the last few weeks. So I don't know if he's priced up
Yeah.
now. He was quite cheap to begin with. 522.
That's a
I
credit
still
to you
like
and
that
Trav, because I
price.
remember a few weeks ago, you boys pointed out him as a bit of a pot option. So
Yeah. Well, he was, man. He was sitting in like the low 400s. Like for Matto in like 420K or something, wherever he was around. It's just criminal. Like he's much, much better than that. So it's about time they're sort of utilizing him. But yeah, Dill Brown 90, that's pretty good. Obviously he's getting real busy now, which is nice. And Eels seems like the only thing they've got to play for is not coming last. And I think that's motivation for a lot of players. You got nothing else, but don't be last. So yeah, 90 points from him. You take that every day of the week. I did trade him off. I kept Galvin. Just I like the run a bit more, and thought their output could be quite similar. It hasn't been too different. The 82 and the 90 not far apart, but every point counts. But no, it was a big win for the Eels. They definitely needed it. So
they certainly did, and I feel like it's also players playing for their futures, because I feel like every day we wake up and someone else has been put on the market. The club's shopping them,
yeah,
so plenty of reasons for these players to start turning up. Surprisingly, as soon as it comes to dollars and cents, they all start to play like first graders again. Next game up, the Dolphins versus the Sydney Roosters. Jesse's Roosters. This one probably gave him a little bit of a heart attack here.
again.
40 points to 34. The Roosters got it done in a game that was just seesawing. It was very
Mm,
surprising how much the Dolphins put up a fight in this game. Maxi Plath, a 95. So those that kept him, I know that Trav's still an owner of the Plath effect, and he was very, very happy. He absolutely loved having him there. Averillo on 80 as well. So that was a nice little score from Jake Averillo, who sort of hasn't really been there, but credit to him for getting that. On the Roosters side of it, Sam Walker, 105. Huge. He was having a field day. He was in a
Oh,
world of
incredible.
a league of his own, really. It was absolutely.
You there, mate?
Yeah, I'm back. You there?
Oh, there he is. Yep.
Don't know what happened. We're back. And then Connor Watson, a 79. That was a beautiful score as well for those Connor Watson owners. What did you make of it?
Besides Plath and Walker, it was quite a low scoring affair for such a high scoring game in general. Like, I think the Dolphins were 2 points off getting the highest losing margin in a game with 36. I think that's the biggest, high scoring loss that you could take. So they weren't far off it. And considering, you'll get a lot of 50s to 60s around. Like, there was very, very low scoring. Sam Walker kind of ran the show. His kicking game's nuts. Everything was on a string. Like, you couldn't put it past him. So 105, that was a massive trade a few weeks ago for Cleary, and it has been for the last 2 or 3 now. And, like, you look at the last few weeks that Walker's put up, they've been really good. Not Cleary level again, but whoever your other half is, I bet you probably wish you kept Walker instead. So, yeah, he's done really good. Connor Watson, Crichton, a few 70s, so it's not too bad. Obviously, Crichton's offloads, I always come through at the end with a nice hefty rescore, which is very nice because majority are effective offloads, which is really good.
Yeah.
Teddy's 52 was quite disappointing in a high-scoring game. It's very, very busy. Seemed like he was doing everything, but he wasn't doing enough to get actual points. It was just, being around. But yeah, we saw 2 guys get knocked out, one of them come back. So Collins and Radley head clash. Looked pretty nasty. I think Collins was the one that missed out on the rest of the game. Radley come back and spells good stuff for Terrell May in general, I think. So anyone that kind of sold him off, I know Payne Haas is a very popular trade now that he's gone for the season. You kind of wish you could take that one back. So yeah, Team A lives on, which is nice
I'm
for
glad.
everyone that still
I
has him.
stuck to my guns and said I'm not touching my front row forwards probably the rest of the year because I'll just take a 30-40 from Terrell May, even when he doesn't really play that many minutes. So
yeah,
I don't care. My
exactly
backs are coming through.
Well, in front row, what are you going to do? You're going to cop a 40 on a bad week. I think he just does that with his 30, 40 minutes anyway. So there's not really anywhere to go to. It's more his price. Like he is still pretty dear if you wanted to take advantage of it, but I still don't think it's worth it. The upside's too high for him. Obviously, the Chooks are on a bye this week, so you are without all of them. And I know there's a lot of teams getting about with like 5 of these guys pretty consistently. And to be fair, they are scoring. Like, they score well, but you miss them all. Dom Young, potentially only a couple of weeks. So the bye this week, maybe the week after he's out. Hopefully he's back the week after that. So you never know with it. It's a bit of a push, but the run is so good. Like, you're kind of just worth holding on to him. Really quiet game for Joey Manu as well, 30 points.
Yeah.
So really, like, disappointingly quiet.
And they're the same side, aren't they?
Yeah.
That was a disappointing game. And we sort of warned that last week with people. I know for me, my thinking anyway was, no, don't touch Manu on the weekend. Do not trade him in because it's the bye this week, and it's just going to be a headache. It's going to be a pain in the ass, to be honest. And he hasn't really repaid the faith either. Those that did pick him up, because 30, probably people would have traded Asako out for him, and Asako doubled his points. So
yeah,
it hasn't really helped or worked out, unfortunately, for those guys.
Well, he hasn't really scored well since round 13. I think it is, or thereabouts. Kind of when we got onto him, everything was just very downhill from him from
Sorry,
there.
guys.
Yeah, we killed him. For the Dolphins, though, Hammer's quite disappointing with his 39. Again, it's very hard to put, big fullback scores up against the Roosters most weeks, but 39 from him, he's been real busy lately and he's been able to do a job, but it's not very great. There wasn't too many good scores. Azarko 64 did his ankle. Hopefully, again, there's not too much come out word-wise if he's going to be injured for any duration, but I got off him last week. I cashed him down to McLean, just took the money to the bank, and then he wasn't scoring very well. And then he got injured, and I thought, oh, he got the try, and then he got injured, and I thought, oh, kind of worked out okay. I played Dallin over him for the matchup, and he outscored him. So I thought, trade kind of paid off in the end, but kills my draft side. So
it's quite funny. You talk about the injury side of things, and I just wanted to bring up and touch on
chaotic
You can
round.
tell we're at the business end of the year because clubs are a lot more secretive about injuries and if a player's out, how long they're out for. The Broncos done it today. They're still not releasing the time frame for Haas and Ezra Mam and stuff. It looks likely that they're probably both gone for the year, but it's just funny that these teams and same with Osaka, you're probably expecting him to be out for a couple of weeks, but the Dolphins haven't said anything yet. I'm waiting to put out posts to have it's like an actual time frame locked in on it, not just reports. But yeah, there's just nothing. I've seen a club release from the Broncos today to say, "Oh, we're going to approach a second sort of guy and a specialist and see what happens there." And it's like, come on, guys, they both pretty much look gone. So it's an unfortunate way to end the season for the Bronx. But yeah, you can tell it's heating up. Clubs are a lot more secretive with their information at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially for the big dogs too. God, there were some injuries this week. I was able to avoid a lot of them. Jeez, I don't even know how.
Touch wood.
I know. Find some.
I don't think Trav did. Shout out to Trav. I think he did cop a bit. I think the way he's sort of speaking, I think he copped a couple of injuries. So shout out to you, Trav. I don't know. Maybe I'm way up there,
he had both Dom Young and Azarko in his side.
Okay.
And my draft team has Dom Young and Azarko coming into finals. It's no bueno.
He was building nicely, guys, and now he's gone.
Yeah.
Next game up. This was an absolute classic to watch. One of the Queensland derbies that Jesse loves that happen weekly, according to him. The Titans 46 beating the Broncos 18. The Broncos came out of the gate, and I was thinking this is going to be embarrassing for the Titans. They've had their home crowd rock up, it's sold out. Broncos are going to. The Reece Walsh show is in full effect, and all of a sudden they just turned it around the Gold Coast, led by Keanu Keeney, who had 124. Jojo for Feeder, 146. That is absolutely so. The hat trick obviously helped that. A couple of line breaks and things like that thrown into it as well. Sensational score. Kieran Foran, 106. So if you have him or if you're in a draft and he was on the waivers and you got to pick him up because you had an injured halfback, then you're absolutely flying. You're loving life. And Philip Sami, 102. Even Firma, I'll go below. Firma, a 92. He's on my reserves and I played him. So I luckily got those points. I've had him all year. He's one of those players I just kept. His duel was awesome to have and sort of paying off, paying dividends in a way. Look, it's harsh for this because he's a gun and he actually played very well, I thought, on the weekend. But I thought David Feeder's 59 was a bit disappointing just because of the scoreline that the Titans had. I would have suggested he would have got to triple figures. Any other week with the Titans scoring that sort of in a game, he would be a lock for a 100-point plus game. And to get a 59, I just thought was a little bit, damn it, frustrating. It would have been nice to get that extra 30 or so points from.
It's all down the other side. It was all on the right. Everything went right. Jojo killed it. Keeney was going that way. Foran was there. Sammy was there. Like everything went right. I think in general for a 59, considering he didn't really get a great deal of stuff. Same as Jaden Campbell, you know what I mean? Like in such a high scoring game where Campbell normally pulls the strings, he kind of missed out on every sort of attacking stat he could have gotten. So he kicked all right, you know, not fantastic, but still got some points there. But no, everything just went that way instead of the other way. Yeah. But, you know, they didn't really need to keep evening it up. They found a hole and they exploited it. So
100%. On with the Broncos, with Reece Walsh. 78. I would love to see the stats for this because I reckon most of those points he got those points in the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. He was flying. He was everywhere, tries, and just literally the go-to guy. And then just sort of maybe it was a case if he was trying too hard, but you can't have a go at the kid for that. He's obviously knows his club's season was on the line and wanted to be the guy that got him out of trouble, but yeah, just for a Reece Walsh owner, that first 10, 15 minutes, if you're R1, you would have been absolutely flying, probably jumping around going, here's a guaranteed 100. Here we go. You probably had the VC on him as well with this sort of matchup, and he just sort of didn't, unfortunately, deliver in the end. And that was the top score, 78. So it was a disappointing game for Broncos Supercoach-wise.
Oh, definitely. You know, like he would have had probably, 34 for the tries, plus some line breaks. I think one was a kick. He would have been on 50. Plus, maybe 55 or give or take in the first 10 minutes. And then to end on 78, you know, with a rescore and then not do too much else. Yeah. They fell off very quickly. the Broncos. I tipped the Titans, and I saw the 2 tries, and I thought, oh, this is going to be a pretty bad round for tipping in general. And then they kind of just got a roll on, and they just freaking kept putting points in, and Fafita and Keeney just kept matching up. And my God, the Titans have found a groove.
Yeah.
A little too late, unfortunately, but it bodes well for them next year if they can keep
Definitely.
this running through. And obviously, they get Tino back, and it's going to be massive. They find a spot for Brimson, probably in the 14. To be fair, I don't think he makes his way back into the starting lineup with this team, but yeah, they've just got strike all over the shop, and they were pumping off. You got 4 guys that all turned up, and one of them
Mm,
146. Like that's you don't get that from big teams often, especially
no.
against the Broncos. But it's almost like you can kind of count a Broncos matchup like you could a few years ago, where they were the whipping boys. And you just go, they're not a defensive juggernaut anymore. They've lost Haas now for the season.
Huge.
It's massive. Like they've got nothing to play for, and they're just losing all of their talent. It's just like, you know what? I kind of like the Broncos matchup from the now to the end of the year. If you've got them, I reckon there's points there. Especially if that's the second time the Titans have done it to them this year too.
Yeah.
So,
It's interesting. It's definitely, yeah, as you said, credit to the Titans. Unfortunately, just that Campbell Fifita side, they just didn't go there. As you said, it was just very frustrating as an owner for both of those. I didn't look at the app during the game. I was expecting just to go up on the app afterwards and go, sweet, they scored well. But yeah, they just unfortunately didn't do so. Next game, upset of the round and upset of probably almost the year. It was a
yeah,
fantastic game to watch. The Dragons
huge.
overcoming the Storm in Melbourne. Yes, you heard that right. The Storm in Melbourne, 18 points to 16. People were bagging the Dragons for celebrating like they won the grand final, but good on them. That was a good gutsy win. That was obviously something they put a lot of work into this week and really put emphasis on that win because of obviously in the finals race still that was a must win for them and they got it. They got it done. So credit to them. Scores wise, bit different. Obviously, it was sort of like how the game went. It was just a bit of a bash and barge game and just real gritty, real tough. Jaden Sewell for the Dragons, a 93. Again, credit to my draft side. I left him on the bench. So that was awesome. But credit to me. And then for the Storm, it gets better, guys, because I was sitting in a chance to play finals football in another draft I'm in. And I had Harry Grant there, who I captained last week, and I took the C off him this week. And what happens? He gets 119. He's fucking probably played his best game of the year. And next best was Hughes on 66. So Grant was just on another level on the weekend. And unfortunately, the rest of his teammates, if we're being brutally honest, just weren't with him. So weird game for especially the Storm, but for the Dragons, it was just a tough, gritty win and just didn't really show on Supercoach front for anyone, really. Just sort of those stock standard steady scores.
They stuck in there and they put it to them, and they come out with 2 points at the end. So I don't think anyone predicted that. To be fair, Jaden Sewer has been in really good form. He's been very overlooked. To be fair, I haven't really humoured the idea of it. There's other second rowers that you kind of gravitate towards. His last few games, 93, 73, 88 out of 42. Yeah, pretty average, whatever. 98, 83. Like he's been pumping out 80 pluses pretty consistently. Like he's doing real well. So, anyone that has him, like you're reaping the benefits of it. He's only owned in 2% of teams, 2,500 of overall teams as well. I don't think anyone in the top pack even really has him. Harry Grant, 2 tries, it's a massive result for Harry Grant in a losing side, 119. I think that's with a 15-point increase as well. I think he ended on 103. So, really good from him. Hughes 66, Munster 63. You take that from them. I suppose you'd expect much more, but it's not the worst scores you're going to get. Munster's break even was quite high too, so he dropped a lot. He's sitting at 535k, which is just incredible price for him if you want to get on. I'm a big fan of it. Storm Eli Katoa 44, disappointing. He hasn't really done that for a long time. That's just pure flaw out of him, even below it. But I think you can't really go much more disappointing than Ryan Pappenhausen's 11. That stings, man. That stings. Had I had a fullback who put up even a remotely respectable score, I would have hit 1,200 quite easily. 11. Played 80 minutes. He just didn't do anything. He wasn't.
It
I
was
had
one of
no
those
I
moments
had
where you
no
wanted to like
words.
tap him, and you're like, "Is this
Right.
thing on? Is this on?"
Yeah. I was looking at I opened the app and I was looking at the scores and I refreshed it and I was like, "Oh, it's not refreshing. What's going on? Why is Pappenhausen not refreshing? Everyone else has." Just this one guy. I had to duck over to like the NRL, like the actual NRL app itself to look at the fantasy scores to see what he was doing because it wasn't making sense to me. Absolutely dick all is what he was doing. That's why he scored friggin' nothing. You know, he only scored 19 more points than Justin Olam.
What a way to put it.
Yeah, and Justin
Oh,
Olam got binned. He got sent off. Oh
Pappy
man, I
just
don't know.
didn't exist.
Well, for the NRL fantasy players out there, he scored 7 in 80 minutes. 69 meters, nothing of note, 4 tackles and 1 missed, and an error. So all of that was voided. Yeah, unbelievable. I don't know what to say, to be fair. It was shocking. Really sucks coming off a good, 92. So really shit from him. And I think that's the end of the flying mullet in my side. I can't be done
Jesse's
twice like
done.
that. Yeah, that cooked me a little. Still love him, but God no. Um,
Jesse's done.
yeah, for the Dargans, a lot of 50s and 60s. It was just a gritty game, a lot of base, a lot of good solid stuff. Jaden Stewart again putting it up. Zach Lomax 59s, you take that against Melbourne. I
Yeah,
was thinking if you can get a 50-60 against Melbourne, he drops a bit of coin. But quite a good show from him as well. So I think he's a great buy from now to the end of the year. And if the Dragons get a roll on from that, a bit of confidence beating Melbourne, I know they play the Dogs next week, another defensive side. If they can get that through, it'd be very impressive on their end. But yeah, there's a couple in there that I like, and he's pretty much the one. But Stewart's bloody impressive, and even still, his price 659. I feel like with the scores he's been putting up for such a fairly long time, he should be in 700s, 800 almost. It's huge. But yeah, good win for the Dragons. Bloody gutsy.
100%. That was my little 2 cents on Lomax. I'd wait this week. If you don't own him yet, I'd wait one more week. Just the Dogs are just a beast at the moment, so I'm just a bit
Yeah, but
cautious.
you wait a week. When are you going to get him? Nothing
The week
left.
after, the week
Ah,
after. If you got any
you can
trades
wait.
left by then, you get him. You get him. So,
That's it.
uh,
The week
if you
after
have
is
big
against the
balls,
Titans too.
if you have big balls, you might not have trades left. But if you have small balls, you'll probably have trades left. So, Jesse, will you have trades left in a week's time?
In a week's time, I might have one.
Yeah.
That's it.
He's going all out this week, guys. I guarantee it. I have a feeling Jesse's going, stuff this. He's just going to go for it. So we'll look out. There's going to be some moves made. You got a bit of coin as well, don't you?
350K.
Look out. There, look out. I can feel you getting the big ones this week, the big kahunas.
That's
Very,
perhaps
very,
the turbo money. Unfortunately, I didn't expect to do looking at turbo. We can get to that for
hey,
tradies. It's the
yeah,
plan's Pap
that's
Tonga
it.
money. Gives me plenty of coin anyway, but that's a teaser for the tradies.
Oof.
Good
Get
fun.
that up. Yes, next game, the Sharkies beating the Rabbitohs 20 points to 6. And I've got to be honest, by the time this came around on Saturday night, watched 2 NRLW games, watched 2 NRL games, had the Olympics on. I didn't really catch much of this game. I was all pretty much footed out but by this stage, and I was ready just to slump on the lounge and watch a bit of Olympics and fall asleep, basically. So this game didn't really get my attention, so I can't talk about it on an NRL level. But for Supercoach side of things, Hero, I did see sort of highlights and stuff, and like I think it was on in the background. Every time I looked up, he just somehow either had the ball and was in like attacking raids or we spoke about this a few weeks ago. We said that with this run that the Sharks had coming up, he had that much base happening. The attack was coming, and he was going to start scoring some really, really good scores. And I was jealous that I didn't get a chance to get onto him. I was actually tempted 2 weeks ago to jump on him, but I decided to make those big plays and get some of those big guys in, which I'm not going to not going to worry about too much because they're probably going to pay off in the long run. But goodness me, he's doing so well, and he's sort of doing my head in at the moment because he's going to keep scoring and he's going to make himself higher. Next year's out the window. He was one of my guys. I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? Even next year, I'm happy to pay 500 or something for, but he's going to be so much more than that. For the Bunnies, Cookie delivers again. For me and Jesse, who are still running the one hooker rotation very, very hard and just praying that Damien does something each week. He did again, top scored. And Jai Gray, I sat him on my bench. I didn't play him. He was in the reserves this week, 93. So delivered again, and unfortunately, I didn't play him in 5/8. So annoying. And then a bit of a drop down to Kloa, who got a steady 56. So, I mean, for his high standards, you're probably be a bit disappointed if you're an owner, but still 56 for a lower game for him is something you'll take.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you take a 56 as a pretty much nothing else. Look at another pretty heavily owned player in for the Sharks as well, Britton Nakora, 44. Both, I think, Kalamatangi is much less owned than a lot of the big, popular second row options, but yeah, not the worst score ever. Kyle Lero, 87. That's all he needed was the tries. The 50-60 base was happening every week. So yeah, chuck a try in the mix. I'm stoked. I remember getting him before his price rise and haven't looked back since. He's almost increased 400k since then. And he just keeps doing it. He's a very viable starting option in my side now. I think I have no quarrels about ever playing him. I think I've played him almost every single week. I've had him too. I have to go back and see if there's one that I didn't, but he's been a mainstay. Really, really solid. Will Kennedy, 63. Jesse Ramian's 57. That's pretty good. He's been very consistent lately as well. Trindle, 52. He's doing all right. Stone Street scored 50 points. He had 3 tries disallowed as well, I'm pretty sure. So that could be
and then
anything.
Eero
On
scored one where he would have been playing as well. So
yeah,
that could
he's
have
on
been
the
a
wing
monster.
too. Yeah, everything was going to him, and everything kept getting pulled back. I feel sorry for the bloke because he could have been on.
And he had a HIA as well in there, so he missed.
Yeah, he did.
15 minutes. It could have been huge.
Could have been anything. And you know what? He hasn't had a price rise yet. He's still bottom dollar. He's 204k. So you're not going to get him in with a -25 with the intention of selling him. But shit, if you've missed the boat on, Casey McLean or, you're looking for a cash down option, especially for any center wings that you're not in love with, you could do much worse. The Sharks still have a good thing going for him at the moment, and he's basically just replaced Mulatalo. But I feel like he's a bit more involved. I feel like he gets amongst it a bit more than Mulatalo does. So if you can get like a Kyle Lero level of base almost, but then that try scoring ability where if he actually bloody puts it down and they don't pull it back, could be very good. And it could be one of those things. Obviously, I don't know where his position will be next year, but if he can find himself a spot, he's going to be dirt cheap next year too. So something to look forward to, but I don't know. There's still a fair few weeks left. Not too much to go on for the Sharks, I'd imagine. The Nakora's 44 wasn't fantastic, but no one else scored too much more than that. But yeah, the Souths, they had a few better scores than the Sharks did, and they lost by an extra 14 points. So it was a bit weird to see how much they did more. But rating the players, Damien Cook and Jai Gray were bloody everywhere in a losing side. I thought they were the best players on the park. Cook, 98, brought down from 100, which was a bit sad. I like seeing the 100 there for him, but come down 2 points. Jai Gray, 93, is way more high. His 93 is a lot more than I actually expected because you always see him and he's always real busy, but you check his score after the game and it's, it might not be a massive. It could be a 50 or a 60 and you're thinking, shit, I'm sure he did more than that. This is the game where it kind of translated, so good on him on that end. Cam Murray, 49, is pretty low. He hasn't really come back from his suspension very hot, and he's sort of not been there at all this year. So
I don't like him on the
kind
edge.
of time. No, I don't think so either. I think he's sort of utilized more in the middle. But again, it's like Kalamatangi's better in the middle too. So you can't just have them all in the middle.
Come on. If you're if you're starting a brand new team, let's say, who are you signing? You're signing Murray to play lock, you're signing Kalamatangi. You're signing Cam Murray every day of the week. Cam Murray is a rep quality, and I could always say this when it comes to Origin time. I think he's the best lock in the game. So
yeah,
I just feel like he needs to be there, especially at the moment while there's no Latrell at the back. So Cody needs a bit more help because I don't think he's getting that from White. And I think White's still just sort of a ball player, not really organized too much. And Cody at times can be not really organizing much either. He's not really a huge, big organizer. So I just think a bit more control with Murray in the middle would have been ideal for the Bunnies. I think they've just, I know Kalamatangi was really good when he was injured, but I feel like with those sorts of players, once they're back, you just put them back in their position.
Yeah, well, he's only played 3 games since round 9.
Yeah.
I mean, so it might be a bit of work for him. It's a lot through the middle for them, but this is where I kind of look at their averages and I think, okay, people that are doing quite poor now, they're plummeting a bit. It's just really good for him next year because the quality's there for him. And I was very keen on Cam Murray at the beginning of this season. Preseason team building and stuff because he just gets back to a bit of form and he's averaging 70 again. So um, if we can get him for 500 this time coming around next year, I'll be all over that again. So um, for the rest of the team, I suppose not really too much. Duncan back down to 38. Nothing too much happening there. I'm happy to move to the next game. It's pretty dismal after this.
Penrith 22 beating the Knights 14 and put up a bit of a fight in this game. Surprising. I thought Penrith would have run over this quite comfortably. Nathan Cleary top scored with 90. No real unicorn points to note, guys. I know there's a lot of calls for that in random chats and stuff about the unicorn points will come. It'll get him up to at least 100 and stuff. It didn't happen. So just a respectable 90. He's human, but it's still a decent score. But a lot of us captained him and resisted the VC loop with Val Holmes and stuck solid with Cleary, and we missed out on about 80 odd points once you put the captaincies and that together. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. McLean 76, take that every day of the week, and Tungo came back with a bit of a bang, 67. He had a try disallowed as well, so that could have been edging up towards the 100-point mark for Tungo, and he could have been back in a big way. A lot of people out there have been speaking about when Cleary comes back, it'll really help Tungo's game go back to that elite level, sort of that he was at the start of the year, and people were very tempted on him around then. And it took him the last couple of weeks. He didn't really deliver on that, but I felt like on the weekend was a bit of a taste of what we might get the next couple of weeks with both centers really being very, very heavily involved. So that was great. Great to see. I feel like, especially those McLean owners who we even said, even as of last week, he was still a really good buy with the run that the Penrith Panthers have got. And even if they rest players, he will not be one that gets rested. They'll continue to play Casey McLean. For the Knights, Daniel Safidi, 81, and Tyson Frizzella, 78. So some of the big experienced forwards led the way against the big Penrith pack. They needed to. They delivered for super coaches out there. Honga, 56. You'd probably say, looking at that, it would be disappointed, but the fact that it was Penrith and Penrith were really good, and Cleary is very good at keeping him out of the game. And I noticed actually watching this game that Cleary was really aggressive with him. Every tackle he was part of, he was just a bit dirty with him. And I was thinking, hang on,
Yeah, right.
Cleary, what are you doing, brother? And then I was like, oh, hang on. Obviously, Dad's gone. This is the guy we need to get at. So he's listening to Dad. He knows that we're at home. If they go sit down at the roast dinners and he didn't do his job, then he would have been in trouble. So a bit less gravy on his plate. So he wants some gravy. So he made sure he did what his dad asked of him. But it was fun. It was fun to see that. I was like, Cleary, hang on, you're a bit aggressive, brother.
Yeah, well, I didn't get to watch this game, unfortunately. I was in Belmore. I was watching the reserve Bulldogs. I'll just check the scores when my phone decided to load in, and I was just watching it. And in one of my drafts, actually, I come up against Tungo, and it was my battle for the top 4. I dropped down to 5th, and I needed to win desperately because everything had worked out well for me to jump back into 4th. And I come up against him, and then I saw try, and I thought, holy shit, I'm only 10 points ahead at the moment. Then he gets another one. I'm like, oh crap, it's all over for me here. So I ended up winning that, thank God. But yeah, Cleary 90. Most people captained him. It would have only been 40-point difference in your captain if you had Holmes anyway. And realistically, you probably drop someone. Your AE comes in.
Oh yeah.
You might have been backwards. You might have gone backwards if you'd done a loop. So you never know how it plans out. But McLean 76. I got him in last week. Didn't play him, but I got him in. Huge. It's very tempting. It's almost like you can build up your center wing out of just cheapies at the moment. Well, were cheapies anyway. Your Kyle Heroes and these guys and Talungis, they're all scoring well. There's no point getting onto the premiums. Who needs them? Little guns are killing it. It's called Toto. And you just paid 800 and something for him. So
don't worry about me, brother. I top scored this week out of us 3, so you just pipe down a bit.
You're just cashing out an extra 600K for nothing. Yeah, Tungo 67, Yo 62. There's a lot of consistent scores there. Pretty much even the debutant as well, Yongi 47. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I saw his numbers and they look all right. I'd have to
Yeah,
go back
he's
and see
busy.
how he played, and yeah, he keeps busy. So, um, yeah, all around, I think I expected a bit more from the Panthers against the Knights in general, points wise, but their scores were quite good overall. You take a lot of them. For the Knights, Brayley, 67, bloody hell, come out of nowhere. Now that he's got that spot back, I think a bit of the shuffle around. I'd have to watch the game and see what happens with it all. But Crosland's 16. It's not very good if they're putting him in the halves and they're shuffling everything around and dropping Hastings for that. Um, how did the attack look with that pairing?
It's hard to say
It's
because
against the
again, it
Panthers
was
too.
Penrith and it's at
Yeah,
Penrith, so it's really hard. They were very good at what they were doing. Penrith, as I said, they roughed up Ponga pretty much any time he had the ball. That was a clear message of intent by the coach, which they delivered on as they do every single time they get told a job to do. I just don't like it. I didn't like it last week when I seen that this was happening, and I don't know what Cog has done there. It feels like he must be off the field an absolute pain in the ass or something. I don't know, because I just think, why wouldn't he just be the 7, lead this team around, which he did at Penrith last year when their best player wasn't there and he did a great job of it. Give him the team. Let him just
yeah,
take over. Go do what you got to do. He just, like, Crosland was one of the better hookers in the game last year. I feel like he's lost a lot of form this year, and then they've chucked him in at halfback. It just didn't make sense to me. And I felt like that put so much pressure on Ponga on the weekend because Penrith basically just knew if anything was coming from Newcastle, it was off the back of Ponga. It was either Ponga himself doing some individual magic, or it was him passing it to someone running a hole. And Gamble, I know he got like a 56, but I just didn't think Gamble did much at all. And
yeah.
he did a couple of ordinary kicks, and I still just don't rate him. I don't want to be harsh to the bloke, but
Mm.
I don't know why. I would love to see Cogger and the English guy. What was his name
Price.
again?
Well, Price.
Yeah, Price. Sorry. I would love to see them two as a combo, and I think Price would love to play with Ponga. I think they'd be really, really good
Mm.
on the field. To just, I just realized what I said. But yeah, they'd link well together on the field, and I thought that'd be the best sort of combination for the Knights moving forward.
I can't. I'm trying to cue in on what you actually said.
No, you're right.
Something about the price being right, is it?
No. Just
No?
that playing together.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now, you know,
Yeah.
it's not late enough to be going that way. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think we've been saying to get Price and Cogger in the halves all season, and it just hasn't happened. And I suppose, what do we know? Keeps
No. Nothing.
persist with Gamble and drop Hastings for Crossland. Very unusual, but yeah, it's very hard to look at these scores with any sort of merit against Penrith in Penrith. You just take them for what they are. But even still, there's a couple of decent scores in there. Frizzell, 78. Flaifidi, 81. Good for your draft sides. I wouldn't be buying any of those guys in. But Ponga, 56. Like, you take that.
Yeah.
This is kind of the week now, like this current week where everyone wants to buy him in. 650K. It's probably the lowest we'll get Ponga for against the Tigers at home. So very tempting. And for
Shout out to
Marzu as well.
Marju, yeah. Shout out to him.
Yeah, 47 points for him again. It's like that's his base coming back to it again. It seems like he's just come to again all of a sudden. Like, it's taken a bit of time. Pretty much took all season to get him to hit that. And as soon as he hit a big game, what about a month ago, his
Yeah.
his work rate's definitely picked up. And um, yeah, it's good. Like, there's good signs going forward for Mizu in general. But I think, yeah, 540K, like, you could still buy him. I think the
Mm.
Knights run looks really good, and it opens up a lot from here. So they do become appealing in attack, but they just have to click. Because if you
Yeah.
just start committing to Knights players now and they don't start firing, you just sort of derailed your season right at the end. It's a tricky one to try and work out.
If he can get that sort of base this week against the Tigers, for instance, Marju, he'll get 100 plus. I've got
Yeah,
no
oh,
doubt about it.
definitely.
He'll
Yeah,
get a few
because
tries, a couple of line breaks and stuff, and that score just all of a sudden rockets.
well, you look at the Tigers' right edge where they just let Talangi walk himself over for what could have been 5 tries. Um, like, there's Marzi right there, and they're
Yeah.
very much they're dominant on that side majority of the time anyway. With Ponga always wanting to go out there, and it's a very, very tempting matchup. It's probably the matchup of the round for Ponga
Yeah.
and Marju, I would say, for just fixture targeting. So
Ponga
we'll
owners,
see
you're
head to
very
heads.
tempted to put the C on there, but the boys will talk about that Wednesday night. The last game, the Doggies 22 beating the Raiders 18. They put up a magnificent fight, I thought. They were
Yeah.
unlucky in defeat. They were very, very good. I felt like it rose to the occasion, which was awesome to see. Obviously, playing for Papali'i's 300th. Jesse, you were at the game. First of all, let's talk to us. What was it like? The atmosphere, was it as good as it looked on TV and it sounded? It just looked like it was
Yeah.
something else. It was
Oh,
really incredible.
it was pumping. Yeah, I went at my
Did you feel
brother-in-law,
safe?
niece, and my daughter as well. So yeah, we were fine. Yeah, there was people everywhere. It was a great day. The drums were out, there was people marching through. Belmore Road was lit up. There was burnouts, and everyone was just letting it happen, which was beautiful to see. And horns were going off at the end of it. So no, it was good. I was back where I used to live. I sort of grew up. Well, I didn't really grow up in Bankstown area, but I spent a fair chunk of my life living there. So yeah, no, they did really good, and it was just a nice day out, really. Weather was good. The hill was great. There was people enjoying themselves, and the reserve team got up as well. Which kind of set the tone for it all. And then, yeah, it was a gritty game.
Yeah.
Got really close towards the end there, but you're seeing like Addo Carr going over it, just set people off. Like, you should have seen the place, man. There's one guy that everyone's just a fan favorite. Everyone loves him. You watch him go over, and even Crichton too, for like twice. It was just, yeah, people are in love, man. It was just, yeah, it was really, really good to be there. Belmore's a fun place to watch a game at if you're ever around. So
I'll note it down. Super coach wise, Crichton was absolutely huge. I felt like he
mm,
just he's just start of the year probably was very quiet super coach wise, but he's really starting to come into his own, I feel like. And a point of difference, I feel like, in the run home, because the doggies have some decent matchups as well. And he's obviously now become like a go-to guy in attack for the Bulldogs, where at the start of the year he probably wasn't. And he just sort of, they let him work into not just his role on the field, but the captaincy stuff as well. He's it. He's the guy at the moment. And I'm talking about not just for the Bulldogs, but the competition. He's that
yeah,
good at the moment. And it's like he's 2 times bigger than everyone else on the field. He's 2 times quicker. He's just elite. He's just an elite player now, and it's so impressive to watch him go. Sherry as well, 72, very, very
mm,
impressive. I don't know if anyone out there still has him, or they've just been stuck with him and gone, oh, I've got other elsewhere issues to do. Well, yes, he's helped you there. The edge back rowers are 70 and a 65 for Kickout and Preston. For the Raiders, Joe Tarpin, I know you're an owner, 2 shy of that century mark. Sensational, 98,
mm.
absolutely everywhere. He was in
Heaps of
beast mode as
offloads.
well. Great pickup if you have got him in recently and listened to Jesse's advice, because that was a brilliant score.
Yeah, 98 points. Watching him too, I think he had about 3 offloads in the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I was like, shit, he's got the license to offload this game.
Yeah.
And he was everywhere. Like, he was the man, to be honest, for the Raiders. It was just, as soon as he had the ball, they couldn't get him to the ground. You realize how bloody big he is too. Seeing him in person, and we were right up against the field too. We were real close to it. Um, God, there's some big boys out there. When you see him, you think, holy shit, Stephen Crichton's gigantic.
Yeah.
He's a giraffe, man. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, Tarpany, massive score. Tom Starling too, Papali, they all did well. Like, it was a very gritty game. Like, they all put it
Mm.
in. Attack wise, to be fair, the Dogs were clicking, man. Like, I was looking like Connor Tracy. He got busy. Unfortunately, Carraz, it never really went that way. It was also kind of going the other direction, and like, they just went with what worked. But yeah, there was a few things going. What do we got here? Just having a look at them. Yeah, see, they do kind of drop off the scores for a little bit. It was just kind of centralized around that middle, and everyone was going left for the Dogs, and even for the Raiders too. Like, Timoko got himself a try. Kaya Weeks was up and about, but everything was kind of just focusing through the middle for the Raiders. They were just pumping their way through. They got that try, that really soft try, right under the sticks, and it was kind of just set silence to the place as well when that happened. It was like, oh shit, they actually went through. That's a bit disappointing. But yeah, no, like, the Raiders just have to kind of see where they go from here. Like, I don't think they got too much to really play for in general. I don't know. They're not a really good shout at the 8. they're just going to end the year in a sort of steady position. They're 10th at the moment, so it's like they kind of need those wins, the real scrappy ones, if they can get them towards the end. And you know what? Give it another 5-10 minutes, and they probably would have had a really good chance for it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, overall, a couple of disappointing scores. Sexton 28 felt like he did a fair bit more than a 28 kind of reflects, but
He was very good, I thought.
yeah, so did I. I thought, he
Yeah.
did a good job. He was kind of up and about. Like, you couldn't really fault him, but it just did not translate very well. Um, the unusual thing for the Raiders that I thought was very strange, speaking of strange, that's kind of the point. Ethan Strange got dropped
Yeah.
right before kickoff. So they could put Adam Cook in there, and I just didn't understand the whole point of doing that. I just think it kind of disjointed him a little bit. Like, Fogarty looked good and his kicking game was strong, but I didn't notice Cook at all. I kind of kept an eye out for him to see what the whole reasoning in that was, and it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. Um, Josh Curran went off injured as well, but he came back. I think he might actually be off for a couple of weeks. It looked like a shoulder injury, but he ended up coming back on the field, and yeah, he did quite well. Reid Marnie, not so much. 41 points. He's a bit of a letdown for the owners out there in the last couple of weeks. He's been scoring what Reid Marnie usually scores. So this year's kind of
He's
been an
back.
anomaly.
He's
Yeah,
back.
he's back to being pretty poo. So um, yeah, all in all, there's a couple of good players there. Like Preston, really great, 65. Could have done more with it, but I think if you've got some balls for the Dogs run from this point on, there's some bloody good players there that I'd like to have. Crichton's one of them. I know he can have games where he kind of goes missing a little bit, and not missing as such for relevancy in the game. He's bloody everywhere in the game, but just points wise, just scoring
Yeah.
points. I think he's just a lot, doing the captain thing. It kind of just takes away from it. But he's really, found his feet, Supercoach wise, and Preston as well, 65. I'd love to have Preston back in my side if I could. Um, Matt Burton, 54. Again, there's scores lower than they appear on the eye, but um, the Dogs are well on their way. They're pushing for the top four if they can make it happen, and it's a good time to have a team like that when they got a lot to play for. So
I'll just give a bit of
um,
a credit here to the Raiders as well, because it wasn't an easy game. It was a
no,
real
God no.
dogfight type performance where the Dogs were getting bashed. There was a point there where the Raiders were on top and they were bashing them, and to overcome that, credit to the Bulldogs as well. But just in terms of Supercoach scores, we talk about like being at Penrith and stuff like that. I just want to give Raiders some credit because they can be that team at times where they get really determined to put in those sorts of performances, and that was them on the weekend. So don't let some of the scores shy you away from some of these players in the run home, because I felt this week was the week where a lot of teams got up for that performance because they know that they needed to win to sort of stay relevant in the finals situation. I think what we'll see now is a couple of weeks now of a couple of big scores. So we could see some really increased attacking stats for teams that are sort of, in a way, the balloon sort of popped, the bubbles burst, and they might be there for the taking for some of these more determined sides who are still playing for things. I feel like that this is the time of year now we start to see some of those bigger scores come into play. So it's just about timing it, just about getting those right matchups in play, and there'll be some big Supercoach scores. That's my big prediction this week and the next couple of weeks. There'll be some big scores coming up.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just go balls at the wall kind of stuff now. Like, just throw everything into attack. You've got nothing to lose. You may as well just go out there and throw the footy around. So um, even still with that as well, I know a lot of people obviously go on to Haas and everything else, and if you're priced out of Barnett, I genuinely think Tarpany becomes the front row option to target,
Yeah.
regardless of price or position for the others. I think he's just this is the best time of year to have him, you know what I mean? And watching him in the game and seeing what he was up to and how much he's picked up his output in the last couple of weeks. Um, like in the first 30 minutes, I think he was on probably 50, 60 points. And that was just his first stint. So this is the kind of time where you hit him up. Starling has become, one of the hooks to have. He's 500K now. There's dirt cheap. You kind of miss that. So there's a lot of attack that's kind of finding their feet. And you never know. Like, there's still, 5-6 weeks of footy left for these guys before
5.
finals. 5. So there's still, there's a lot can change in 5 weeks. We're up to our head-to-head finals, but these guys don't have to think about that for a little while. So there's still a lot to play for, and yeah, I think you're right about it. I think there is a fair bit of points coming. So yeah.
Players don't have to think about it, but if they're part of Inch at a time, they definitely have been thinking about it because they received an email today just to say, ready, we're ready to go, boys. I need a big 4-week period from you. So good luck to Inch at a time heading into finals. You're versing me, should be shaking in your boots, but that's all we got time for. The boys will be back Wednesday night for the tradies team list, talking all things Supercoach. We'll get a post out this week to get some of your questions in as well. But hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, subscribe, the like, you know what it is. Follow us on all the social media platforms. Thanks for joining me, Jesse. Trav, you're missed. Yeah, we'll see you again Wednesday night. And you'll probably catch the three of us together again, probably next Monday. We'll see what we're doing. But yeah, hopefully next Monday at this stage. Thank you, guys, and we will catch you Wednesday night.